On AM 1130 by 99.9 FM, Prescott, Chino Valley, and Paulden 95.5 FM, Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, the talk of the Quad Cities, KQNA. It's
Hammer Time.
Waking Up with the YCCA. Hammer Time is brought to you by Lawhorn Plumbing, Verde Valley Alarm Services, Earthworks Landscape and Supply, Prescott Home Safety, Greenlee Designer Services, Get Right Mitigation, Franklin Plumbing, The Blind Brothers, Caltex, Vicente Landscaping, Barrett Propane, and Badger Roofing. And now from the studios of KQNA, it's Hammer Time, Waking Up with the YCCA. Here's the Executive Director of the Yavapai County Contractors Association, Sandy Griffiths.
Everybody, happy weekend to you. It's deja vu all over again. We're still in March, rolling right along, Mr. Enders.
Yes, we are.
So, as we straightened ourselves out a couple weeks ago, Easter is next month.
Correct. But St. Patty's Day is coming up.
Do you drink green beer?
I will this year.
Oh, do you? Okay, perfect. What, does it taste any different than
I have
regular
no idea.
beer?
We'll find out.
Okay, awesome.
I don't think it does, but we'll find out.
So happy St. Patty's Day soon to be. Easter is next month. Taxes are due next month.
Right.
Ooh.
The boogeyman.
Christmas is in December, so we're just kind of moving right through the calendar.
Rolling right along.
Perfect. So this morning we have a super electrifying. Oh, I'm sure that joke is so old.
That was good.
That is so old. Mario, is that really old?
No, it's not shockingly old.
Ooh. Got some stiff competition here this morning.
I do. We've got Mario Triana with us. And his partner, his social media guru, Bo, is back here in the corner with Allied Electric, and we're going to talk everything electric.
Perfect.
Electrical, electric, electrician.
Sure.
Don't put your fingers in the socket.
All the above.
Yep, not a butter knife or anything like that.
Not a butter knife?
No.
How about a steak knife?
Probably not. Probably is equally as dangerous.
Okay, we got it. No knives in the sockets.
Yeah, no silverware.
Yes, I still have my cough, listeners.
I was just going to say the allergies are still amongst you.
Yes, I think I'm getting better, except when I laugh. Don't make me laugh.
I think maybe the snow has calmed down. The little snow skirmishes we've had lately have calmed down the pollen count,
I don't know, but enough is enough. So this is way too persistent for me. I don't like it. So listeners, when we come back, we will introduce you to Mario Triana, owner of Allied Electric, with his beautiful wife, Amber. And we're going to talk about why you shouldn't put your silverware in a socket.
I'll have to pay attention.
Okay, perfect. So don't leave us. Bo is taking pictures. Hi, Bo. Are we on your camera?
Mario is.
Mario! Okay, now am I? Hi. I just photobombed Mario, right? We'll be right back, listeners.
You're listening to Hammer Time, Waking Up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
We are back on air. You are tuned in to Hammer Time, brought to you by Yavapai County Contractors Association. And, of course, our super, over-the-top, stellar, most magnificent, most awesome sponsors.
You had me at stellar.
I kept going. So
and all deserving.
Yes, Mario Triana, owner of Allied Electric, is with Mike and me this morning. Mr. Mario Triana, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Sandy. How are you guys?
Terrific, thank you.
Good. Good to see you guys.
This is so cool to have you with us this morning. It's been way too long.
Yes, I'm excited to be back on your show and to see you again and to talk and see what's new and catch up.
Do we look the same? Have we changed?
Even better. Younger, better.
Yes.
In every way.
Perfect. The show is yours, Mario.
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay. Why did you want to be an electrician?
I didn't want to be an electrician.
You didn't?
No, I wanted to.
What did you want to be?
So I was a musician, and I went to school for recording music, and I was interning at a place that fixed all warranted Mackie equipment in Manhattan. And I also interned at a studio called Brass Giraffe, which was a recording studio that was pretty close by as well, off of 6th Avenue in Manhattan, yeah, FIT. And at the time, I guess the economy wasn't good, and the guy I was working for, he's like, hey, you're really good with your hands. If you become an electrician, you can get in any studio you want. So I was like, okay. So I went out, I got a job with an electrician, and I didn't walk into a studio again for about, I would say, 8 years.
Wow.
Until I went and recorded my first record, and
So
that's how it happened.
Sing us a song.
Oh, I wasn't a singer, Sandy. I was a guitar player.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
not a singer. Yeah, but that's basically. So I got this job with this local electrician. I worked in the South Bronx. About a year or two later, I wound up getting in the union in Local 3, and
You were hooked.
I still didn't want to do it, but it was a good job. My father threatened me and said, "You better not lose this job because it's a great union job you have." And I did. I liked working with my hands. I was always mechanically inclined, so I had a good time doing it. But it wasn't my first passion. It wasn't music, but I held on and I kept with it, and here we are.
So now, after all these years,
23 years later,
gone under the bridge.
Yeah.
Is it your passion?
It is. I love what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I've grown into. So it's changed, right? So I'm not in the field anymore, and now I have this business. But it's changed in a way that now I'm able to serve people in a different way, right? Like I'm able to serve the team that works with us, and then also that trickles down to the customer. So it's something different now. It's not the same thing anymore.
Are you still working with your hands?
I do. I still do projects and stuff on my own, like my own stuff. But I'm not in the field. I will jump in if I have to, but it's rarely that I do.
Okay.
You know?
So now, how did you transfer from the Bronx out to little town of Prescott?
So I was in the Bronx at first, and then I lived in Manhattan. I'm originally from Brooklyn and Staten Island, New York. So my wife Amber is from Kentucky originally. So and she was a project manager in New York for a wealth management company. She did event planning and stuff like that. So we had lived together. She moved in with me in 2016, and I had told Amber, I said, "Hey, I'm never leaving New York City. I had an apartment on New York Avenue. I lived in a great area. I mean, I had a great career. I made great money, and I was 38 years old. So I was like, why would I ever leave here? Right? I'm from here. I know everybody. But you know, it was the weather. It was just being in the elements all the time. I did high-rise electrical work, and I worked in the subway as well. So that takes a toll on you. And I told Amber one day, I was like, hey, we should like really consider somewhere that the weather is more like maybe like San Diego. I've always wanted to go to San Diego. So we started checking out San Diego, and then I had a friend who retired, and he's like, hey, it's beautiful, but traffic is like Brooklyn, taxes like New York. He's like, it's really if you retire here, it's cool, but if you have to work in this, it's not going to be cool. So I was like, Found Sedona somehow. I was reading a book. They mentioned Sedona. I said, hey, Amber, let's check this place out and go on vacation there. And then 7 months later, I wound up getting a job with a local company. I was really grateful that they had given me an opportunity because they said, hey, we'll give you an interview. But I didn't live here. I just packed up all my stuff, and on faith, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to land this job, and then we're leaving." So
now, was this a company in Sedona or here in Prescott?
This was a company in Prescott Valley. It was in Prescott Valley at the time. So, but there was no guarantees, and I didn't know what to. But I knew I was like, "Hey, to get out and to be close to Sedona, I'll do whatever I got to do." I would have worked in a grocery. I would have done anything to get out. So, but luckily, it worked out. I wound up getting a job with that company. I was with them for about a year and a half, and then I started Allied Electric.
Well, it was our blessing, our good fortune, for sure, Mario. Happy to have you in our universe.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you still go up on vacation in Sedona?
We do. We go and bike ride, and we take our daughter now because we go hiking a lot. So we'll go up there, and you know what? It's funny because Sedona was the reason why we moved out here. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, I'm so glad we didn't move to Sedona. We moved here because it's so much. I don't know. For me, it's just we got the pines over here. It's just beautiful. I love Prescott. We love Prescott. So, yeah.
So, how many employees does Allied have?
So now with myself and Amber, I think we're up to 13.
That's good.
Yeah. So
you know what? They are some of the politest employees I have ever dealt with, Mario.
Oh, good.
You and Amber have done a stellar job in customer service and politeness.
Thank you. Yeah, we really, that's what one of the reasons why we started the business was service. It was like I saw that there was a need for service, and I wanted to I felt like we could do a really good job in the service space and, residential. I was always a commercial industrial electrician. I did housework when I was younger, but I was like, hey, if we could show up on time and give people a service that they've never had before,
and
we
be
could do
polite.
really good. And just be respectful.
Just be respectful.
Yeah, be professional.
Say please and thank you.
Yeah, be respectful and professional and then honor what you say you're going to do. I mean, you can't miss.
You can't miss. You're right.
Following the basics.
That's it. That's it.
So.
Right?
For our listeners, Mario and Amber and the team, you're going to be at our home show next month.
Yes, we're looking forward to that.
And are you going to bring back those delicious cookies?
I don't know. Amber handles all of that stuff with the ladies in the office. I'm not sure what the surprise will be this year, but I'm sure it'll be something.
I hope that you can eat it.
Amber, no pressure, but whatever it is, could you include
Amber,
some chocolate
no
in there?
pressure, but please, we'd like cookies and chocolate.
Yeah, I know that they do all the planning and all that stuff to put everything together. They do a great job.
They do such a marvelous job. It's just like this professionally put together home show booth.
Cool.
I mean, it's just so amazing what you do.
It's good to have you back.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Okay, let's talk about electricity. Don't you think we should do that?
Absolutely.
So, Mario, they say in the world of everything, prevention is always better than cure.
Yeah.
That is with everything
Right.
in the industry.
Yeah.
How does that work with electricity? I mean, should I be going around now and checking my sockets? I mean, my lights turn on. I mean, nothing's sparking. Am I okay?
Yeah, things work until they don't, right?
Yeah.
And they usually decide to stop working in the most inconvenient time, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Excellent statement.
Right?
Things
The worst time of
continue to work
year.
until they don't.
Right, when it's 140 degrees,
Right,
that's when the
right.
air stops working. So, yes, and prevention. So to be proactive about what's going on. People. I say this a lot. And people have cars, right? And they get their cars maintained, right? You get an oil change, you get your tires rotated. Why do you do that? Well, because you need the car to be reliable when you need it, right? Well, an electrical system has a lot of moving parts as well. So, but not many people realize that those parts need to be maintained. They need to be looked at by somebody who's qualified, who knows what they're looking at. And if they're not, it doesn't matter if you have a new system, because if whoever installed that system didn't do the install the way they should have, even though the parts are new, how long could you expect that system to last? Or as things age, as time goes on, it's mechanical. Things get loose. That's just the way it happens. When things get turned on, they get hot, they expand. When they cool off, they contract. Screws get loose, things in the panel get loose. So even though your panel may be new, and I've seen this because we have a maintenance program, we would go out and we'll check a panel, and it's like the screws, the breakers are loose. The wire, where the wire goes in the terminal becomes loose. So if you don't keep up on those things annually, at least annually, then small things could become big problems pretty quickly because it's controlled fire. I mean,
Sure. Well, and there's other issues that you may want to address, like a surge protector, whole house surge protector.
Absolutely, yeah.
Et cetera. So,
and that's a big thing too. And also, like you said, the whole house surge protector. I mean, most people don't realize, you have a surge protector for your TV, for your computers, but you can't plug an AC unit into a surge protector, right? So it's like, how are we protecting these things? We're getting multiple surges a day from the utility company, and also as our big equipment cycles on and off, it's producing its own surges in the branch circuitry. So, and also like smoke detectors. People don't realize how important they are.
They're so important.
And not only that, but to have on top of the smoke detector, to have a plan for you and your family if something does happen, right? Because again, when does it happen?
Sure.
When you're sleeping.
Well, and we're going to have to take a break, but you also get people who sometimes when the batteries get low, and it may be a battery on the other end of the house, but if it's wired accordingly, you're going to hear it in your bedroom at 2 in the morning. And some people even get up and cut the wires just to keep it from beeping. So
hit it with a broomstick.
Okay, we have to take a break. That was very mean of you to throw me under the bus. We'll be right back, listeners.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Hey everybody, good morning and thanks for tuning in to Hammer Time, brought to you by YCCA. Our super stellar, over-the-top, most awesome guest with us this morning, Mr. Mario Triana, owner of Allied Electric, and his partner, Bo, is in the back doing social media. Hey, Bo.
Say hello to Bo, everybody.
Yeah, say hi to Bo. Hey, Bo, baby. So, we were talking electric because that's what you do, Mario.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Yeah.
What makes lights flicker? Is that a problem?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things. There's a lot of different things that can make a light flicker.
A bad bulb.
It could be a bad bulb.
Perfect.
It could be a bad switch. It could be bad wiring. It could be bad breaker. It could be a bad panel. It could be a host of different things. It could be a loose neutral somewhere in the wiring. It could be anything. It could be a dimmer that's going bad. There could be a lot of different things that happen. But and it's a question we get a lot. It's a call that we get a lot. Flickering lights, and a lot of times it's panel, the busting on the panel, or the breakers are loose in the panel because the panel's getting old, so the connections aren't good.
So what is an old panel? How many years would you say a panel is old?
So I've seen panels that were 25, 30 years old that were in really good shape, that busting, everything was still intact, everything was still tight. That's what we look for. We look for burning on the busting. We look for anything, signs that there's degradation. And I've also seen newer panels where people have plugged a wrong breaker into the panel and burnt the busing on the panel. Now the breakers don't sit right in the panel, and unfortunately, I
change out the panel.
Yeah, you have to change out the panel. So it's but like I said, I've seen panels that were old that were in good shape, and panels that weren't old that weren't in good shape. I would say 25 years old. If it's not maintained, think about it. If it's not maintained, how long is it going to last?
So can I go open up my panel and shake, rattle, and roll my breakers, and if they wiggle and wobble, they need to be tightened?
I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Oh.
Only because if you have something loose, you can get burned.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
So I would recommend you call the qualified electrician who can come out and who has a maintenance program that could look at that and give you a written up report of and that's what we do. We'll come out, we take a look at the whole electrical system, we look at all the life-saving devices, and we write up a report that's a comprehensive report for the customer. We go over that to let them know where they could be proactive, where they could actually save money.
So that's your home safety inspection.
Evaluation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what do you look at? You go through every socket in the house and every light switch? And
we can if they want us to. Not everyone. We'll do a visual inspection. So we'll go to the panel. We'll take a look at that. We have a process that we do. Then we'll check things outside the house. We'll go into the home. We'll check things that are important. The grounding, right? Because the grounding is what tells the breakers how quickly to turn off. Right?
So where is grounding? How do you check that?
So the grounding starts at the panel, right? It's coming in from utility, and there are a couple of things here. I'm going to use some terminology. So there's a UFER that comes from the house.
Right.
That's one part of the grounding. Then there's also ground rods that should be present, right, with a bare copper wire going from the panel, which is the main service, to the ground. And then that grounding goes throughout the home, throughout the wiring in the home. And if everything's terminated the right way and everything is in place where it should be, then you should be okay. But there's things that we look for. When we look for those things, we'll pull out an outlet here and there just to make sure that everything is.
And that panel grounding can either be through a grounding rod, or in new homes when we're having our foundation inspected, first over by where the electrical panel is going, that copper wire goes down and into the footing.
Right.
12 feet, I can't remember exactly.
I'm not sure how far, but it'll go into the rebar or whatever it is.
Ties off the rebar, so you're grounded literally to your foundation.
Yeah. make sure that everything is.
Is that code?
That is code, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and that's part of the first inspection on your footings.
Yeah.
So how long then, Mario, does an inspection usually take?
So we'll usually take probably about 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Because we go through, we'll check the smoke detectors, we'll see if they're wired, if they're battery, what they are. We'll go through the panel, like I said, we'll go through some outlets. We check GFCI protection throughout the house and all the wet locations to make sure that everything is up to code there, because it's also very important, especially when there's water. You don't want to get in between water and a circuit, and if you do, you want to make sure that everything is properly put together in a way that it's going to save your life, right? So you want to make sure that those outlets and those breakers are going to turn off when they need to turn off. So
I just, we get a lot of calls where my lights aren't on in this part of the house or this happened. And 9 out of 10 times it's the GFCI that homeowners are really not aware of what that little critter does, let alone where they are.
Right.
We've walked them. You go to your bathroom, go to your kitchen. Should be one in your garage.
Right.
Why, I don't have one in my garage, but I have this great big freezer that I can't move.
Right.
It's behind the freezer.
Yeah, and by the way, the freezer should not be plugged into
Correct.
the GFCI.
And it has been. So
Right.
it's like, okay, let's get you a new outlet.
There goes $200 worth of frozen meat.
Yes.
And we've had those calls where people are like, oh, I went away on vacation and I had my freezer plugged in, I came home and it was off and everything went bad.
Yep.
And come to find out it's plugged into it because they don't realize. The newer homes, the way they do it is they have a GFCI receptacle in the garage and everything outside is loaded off of that receptacle. So if something happens to trip that receptacle, like a freezer, you're going to lose everything. So,
So how do you stay current, Mario, with the code and what's happening in the industry?
So we constantly train from inside.
Okay.
We train our people constantly. We have apprentices. We're going to be starting an apprenticeship program soon, so we're looking
good
forward to
for
doing that. Yeah,
you.
to try to bring more awareness.
Perfect.
And to. There's a lot of kids today that don't want to go to school and they want to learn a trade, and I think that's a great thing. I mean, school is great, but I mean, some people just would like to start life without any debt and start making money and have a career. So we want to provide more opportunities. That's what Allied Electric is about. It's about providing opportunity for the team and for the customers. Just giving more options.
I want to go back real quickly to what Sandy said about opening the panel and trying to wiggle your
Putting
breaker.
silverware in there to tighten stuff up.
But for those do-it-yourselfers that are out there, a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. For example, real quickly, is if you think, well, gee, I've got a sub-panel, so I'll just throw the breaker, and that way I'll be safe, and I can take my cover off, and I can check all these wire nuts. Well, you may end up not throwing the right breaker.
That too.
And so don't do anything like that without hiring a qualified electrician.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize, and to that, Mike, that and I've seen this before. People will take. You don't know what's behind that panel. You don't know what's behind that dead front of that cover, right? We don't. I mean, whoever was in that panel last, we don't. However qualified they were, if you had a guy, and most people say, "Oh, it's a break. I'll have my neighbor change it, or my friend. My friend said he'll fix it." It's like there are a couple of things you got to ask yourself. One, if something happens, they're doing you a favor. Are they going to warranty and guarantee the work that they're doing there?
And if there's an accident, you're liable.
You're liable. Here's the other thing, and this is, I go back. Most people, their house is their biggest investment. If you had a $300,000 car and your friend said he could change the oil, would you let him touch? Would you let him touch that car? Because if he breaks something under the car, he says, "Oh, I was doing you a favor."
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, not my problem.
But if you bring it to a place that does this is their process, this is what they do. They're going to guarantee, they're going to warranty, and you know that you could hold their feet to the fire, right? Because it's in writing,
and you know it's going to be done right.
Yes, and that's something I stress to people. Whoever you have do work for you, get it in writing. They say, "Oh, I'm going to warranty this." Okay, great. Do you have it in writing? Because then you can hold their feet to the fire.
It doesn't exist if it's not in writing,
That's
Mario.
it.
That's what we say.
They say those warranties go away with the taillights, right?
That's right. Listeners, we'll be right back. We're at the bottom of our hour with Mr. Mario Triana, Mr. Mike Enders, Bentry Custom Homes, Mr. Bo, the social media extraordinaire guru in the back, our engineer Gregory, and me. Don't move.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Everybody, good morning. Welcome to Hammer Time. Easter's next month. Christmas, Mr. Mike, how many days?
Right around the corner.
Mario, he's a mathematician and he has no idea how many days till Christmas. I don't know what we're going to do
You're a
with him.
mathematician, Mike?
Pardon me?
You're a mathematician?
He loves math.
Oh, beautiful.
I was a
Nice.
math major. Yeah.
I know.
Really?
Can you believe
I love
it?
math too.
You
Yeah,
do?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Really? Yeah, I hated it too until I went back to school and I was, you know.
You don't realize,
Yeah.
and for kids out there that are in high school, junior high and high school, it's something that you may not like it right now, but you will be amazed no matter what field you're in, there's mathematics involved.
Absolutely.
I know. And with
Absolutely.
YCCA and our QuickBooks and the math, I mean, and the balance sheets and the budgets,
Yep.
I can't get away from math. I mean, it's there. So what's the biggest part of your business, Mario? Is it the home safety inspections, or do you do new construction? Do you do remodels?
It's a good question, Sandy. Yeah, so we don't do new construction, but we do everything else. I would say the biggest part of our business is giving our customers a tailored approach to electrical service. Meaning that everybody has different, people have the same problem, but it's different. The context of what's going on is different. So when we come to a person's house, it really is, okay, this is a new customer. It doesn't, whatever it is, we're going to get them taken care of the way that, with the highest level of service. That's what it is for us. Safety is huge. But then again, to customers, safety isn't always, you would think, right?
That
when
it
it
would
comes
be
to
on the
electrical,
forefront, right.
So like when we come up with a report for a customer and we say, we sit down, we say, okay, let's go over what came up as a red flag. You'd be surprised how many people, they don't care. They're like,
Really?
that's, it's like, okay, well, here's the thing. I'm going to leave this with you so you have it, so you could, it doesn't matter if you do it with us or somebody else, but as long as you're educated and you know what's going on, you're aware, at least you have the choice to make a decision to help yourself if you want to. So for us, it's safety, but not for everybody. It's not,
So what are some examples of what you've uncovered that could be safety-wise? What's one of the most recent ones?
So a big one is the grounding. That's a big problem usually. Yeah, and it's not so much in older houses.
I was going to say.
No, it's in newer homes.
Wow.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls from these newer developments that go up, because unfortunately, what happens is these companies, they make their money off of volume, right? So they have a lot of
Right.
homes they do. And I'm not bad-mouthing anybody. I'm just saying this
Right.
is the nature of how things work. They have a kid who's running through and slapping devices in, and doing it in a way that it's not the most beneficial. You're not going to get the most life out of it because of the way it's wired. So a lot of times loose connections, like you were saying, flickering lights. I mean, we've had flickering lights in somebody's kitchen before, and it turned out it was an outlet that was in the living room behind a TV set that lost a neutral. And it's like, who would have ever thought, right? So you never know where it's going to come from, but it's devices being not properly wired. And, I would say a lot of times that's usually what it is. It's things that aren't, they're getting missed. They're getting passed over because, they're told to go in there and blow through it quick and get it done.
And it's not just in production or custom, but whenever there's a company that's in a hurry to get through the process, that's when the accidents are likely to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mario, being an electrician, do you go through your home and you say, Amber, it's time to do energy check on our house? I'm checking all the breakers and the outlets and the sockets.
Yeah. So when we moved into our
Wow.
home, so we live in Granville. We live in a track house. I know from just being out there how they're wired.
Right.
So yeah, as soon as we moved in, I changed all the I checked the breakers. I put surge protection on my house. I re-deviced my whole house
Wow.
because I knew that the way the wiring was behind the wall. And how foolish would it look on me, right? If I was to have something go wrong in my own house, I own a company who does these, I'm out here telling people.
But that's well put, because the wiring is the wiring. It's the connection that becomes the problem.
Right.
Most often.
Yeah, a lot of times. I mean, sometimes it's the wiring is, and it happens. I mean, there's only a certain amount of inspectors, right? And these guys are like, they have a ton of work to do. There's a million. I mean, look at all these developments that are going on, right?
I know.
These guys are going through and they're inspecting.
Right.
And even in my own neighborhood, I had one of my neighbors came to me. He goes, "Hey," he's like, my TV went out in my living room, and turned out his GFI tripped in his garage. I'm like, they shouldn't even be on the same circuit. So sometimes it's wiring, but most time it's a connection. Yeah. It's a bad connection.
Okay, so do you sleep, eat, and concentrate electrical 24/7?
Not anymore, no. Now it's more.
You used to, then.
Well, yeah. So when I was learning the trade and I was out there, and now it's more about how do I provide more for the team?
Okay.
How do I give more back to the customer? How do I give more back to the community? That's usually where my thinking is now, and we're trying to grow in that respect. To try to continue to better our service and what we offer. So
if you could change one thing to your service currently, without giving away a trade secret, what would it be?
If I could change one thing about my service right now, well, so right now we're in the transition of a couple of different areas of our business. We just got on a new CRM, which is a software that all of our calls go through and our inventory and stuff like that. So that's something we're working on right now. That's probably the biggest thing that we're working on right now is getting that together, because it's a lot of data entry and a huge undertaking. Right. So I hope that answered the question.
No, it did.
Okay.
Are you on call 24/7?
We're not. So we're not at 24/7, and the reason why we're not is because we like to give the team a time.
Right.
They need to
they
rest.
Do.
Yeah, these guys are working 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week.
Okay, Bo, how many hours a week are you working?
80.
Oh, Bo says 80.
Bo's working too much. Bo needs to take a break.
Okay, Bo.
Just not right now.
After this, Bo, we give you a week off.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but it's that's a big one right now is getting, because we're ramping up for growth. So I mean that's something that we're really focused on right now.
So how many more years do you want to stay in charge as owner extraordinaire of Allied Electric?
I think I'll always want to have some place in the business, even though I may not be there all the time. People may take my spot, because I like to offer opportunity to the teams to keep moving up and keep growing with the business. Whether that means me going and opening up another place, or to expand, and that's. But I'll always be. I love what I do, so I'll always be in it.
Do you take your little daughter with you on field calls and service calls?
Oh, no, because I'm not in the field anymore, but she comes to the office. She comes and she'll bring her bike to the office, and she'll ride around and talk to everybody in the office. So.
Okay, so she's getting the feel of what electric is.
Yeah, she picked out her spot for a desk already. It's in my office.
That's amazing. Good. We have to take another break, listeners. When we come back, we will continue this great conversation with Mario Triana, owner of Allied Electric. So don't move. Bo, don't move.
Don't move that camera.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. I'm going to cough. Welcome to Hammer Time. Gosh darn it. I'm like going through the cough drops like crazy.
But you're doing well.
Am I doing okay?
You're doing very well.
Mario, I am so sorry. I'm sure it will go away sooner than later, maybe.
Oh, you're great, Sandy. I don't apologize for.
So what do you want to talk about, since this is your hour of power, my friend?
Was that a pun? Hour of power?
Yeah.
Ah, yay. Way to go.
I love the name of the show, Hammer Time. It reminds me of MC Hammer.
Yes.
We all remember him,
We've
right?
got his music.
Where it came from.
Right? I still see him dancing across the stage every time I hear you guys say that. I'll let you guys lead. I mean, I'm here to serve.
Besides the home inspections, I guess which I can see and understand to our listeners, that's such a critical component.
Yeah.
Because out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
And why I asked about the flickering lights, I noticed in my bedroom my ceiling fan lights the other morning kind of flickered.
Uh-oh.
So I thought, what the heck? But now it hasn't done it for a few days.
Right.
But Mario, there's something going on somewhere that caused that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go get my little pliers and trim somebody's electrical cord, I guess.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you just said that, because we had a discussion at our office last week or the week before. We were talking about, so when things happen, they don't, like, when things happen, they don't fix themselves. Something will happen and it'll go up, it'll come back on. It's not fixed.
Right.
Whatever caused that to happen is still an issue.
No, you're right.
Right. Something moved. Something in there moved, and that should alert you to say, okay, I know it's back on, but it still happened. And I should definitely get that checked out, because like things go on, they go off. They go on. And what happens when things are bouncing back, they're creating resistance, they're creating heat. And what happens with heat is fire.
When the symptom shows itself, you need to follow through and figure out what the cause is.
I
That's
figured
right.
it's because I was like dancing and going crazy and it made
that
the
could
lights
be it,
flicker,
but might
you
as well
know?
find out.
and we say that there's two things that are going to happen with electric, right? You're going to get lucky and it's going to go off. And that's going to consider yourself lucky, or you're going to have a fire. So, I mean, if something happens, it's always best to call somebody and at least get somebody to take a look at it that's qualified to say, okay, this is the reason why it happened. Mm-hmm. But to just let it go, you're asking for trouble.
No, you're right, Mario. Good point.
I think you offer, this inspection that you offer process is fairly unique to the industry. And the fact that you leave people a written analysis of what you have found is a great service, because like you said, that knowledge is so important especially when it comes to electricity, because most people don't know what the causes are. Right. So providing them that information, kudos to you, because that's a great service.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. And the way we look at it is, you know, when somebody knows what's going on, when they're aware of it, they have options. Then it's up to them. You basically give them the ball and say, hey, this is what's going on. You know, it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. It's working still right now, right? But this is what could potentially happen. So by giving them the information, you're educating them, right? And I mean, what more value could you give somebody than educate them, right? Show them what's going on so they can make a decision for themselves.
And when you say it's not the end of the world, however, that could lead to being the end of the world, because a fire could occur.
And I think of it like this too, Mike. It's like, if I went to a doctor, let's say I had a cough, I go to a doctor, I get a checkup. Doctor gives me a checkup, and the doctor goes and tells the nurse, hey, by the way, this guy's got a blocked artery. I really don't want to tell him that because I don't want to break the bad news to him. Maybe we'll just let it go. And then I walk out and drop dead 2 days later.
That is such a great analogy.
It's like, well, did I do this? Did he do me a disservice? Did he? Because he's afraid, because I'm going to get angry because I'm telling him about something that might be potentially hazardous to his health. Same thing with the house. Like, if I don't tell you, that's on me, because I'm the qualified person. I'm the licensed person. Right. And you're calling me as a professional because you want a service. If I don't at least give you the education and tell you what's wrong, then shame on me for doing that.
Yeah, as much as it pains me to say this, if Doc came back and said no more chocolates, of course I would ask him why. But obviously, health,
why is important.
Health is very important, as is not just for your body, but the health of your house.
Yeah, and a good thing, Mike, because the why is very important, right? Like, if you tell somebody something, let them know why.
Right.
Because it doesn't mean there's no value to just, that's not working, this is what we should do. Okay, but why? Why?
So do you think, Mario, that with all the new improved modern electrical systems that are coming out, I mean, the smart home this and the smart home that, and we're hooking it up to our cell phone and we've got this going on, we've got all these electrical components that, how do we know they're all talking to one another and they're creating a safe environment for our home? I mean, we're hooking up everything.
And there's some other things that transpire. Built a home a number of years ago for some folks, and he passed, and the missus called and said, this panel for my alarm system hasn't been working for a long time. Could you come over and take a look at it? I said, sure. Well, the problem was that she didn't know how to clear it. But once I cleared it, she had a low battery. And the fact is that she had a low volt smoke alarm system. And so that's hooked into the battery.
Right.
With the battery not working, smoke alarms aren't going to go off.
Right.
So your checkup is going to find stuff like that.
It's going to uncover that.
Right.
That people don't realize, gosh, inadvertently, one thing, which is a symptom, i.e. my LCD isn't working on the panel, is really the root cause of another issue.
Sure.
So you're going to discover that and save them a lot of trouble.
Sure, and that's the biggest reason for a maintenance program is to, like you just said, is to make sure, like, you could have work done, but if you don't continue to maintain that work and those connections, you can only expect them to last so long, and they will eventually start to fail. So, I mean, it's very important to
How
maintain things.
lucky do you feel?
Yeah, right?
When we have APS blackouts and the power goes off and eventually it comes back on, I mean,
Yeah.
it could be 30 minutes, it could be 4 hours, it could be 10 hours. Should we be concerned to ensure that stuff came back on and connected properly?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sandy. So APS, and I just want to say an aside thing here about APS. I know a lot of people complain about APS because they're a utility company, but I got to say their team.
Oh, their team
they're
is
fantastic.
they're remarkable.
They're fantastic.
They are.
They really are. They really take care of people. I mean, we work closely with them,
Yeah.
obviously, because we're in the same space. But I just want to say that they
Right.
do really fantastic work. But yeah, so when power goes out, when power comes back on again, everything is turned on, so everything is hitting that system, right? So this is a point where people get surges and damage equipment. I'm not saying that surges are going to knock out the equipment completely in one shot, but they are going to wear down those sensitive the electrical components that are in that stuff. So surge protection is there, one, to protect the equipment, but also to give it more life, too, because just having the right surge protector, and when I say the right surge protection, I don't mean something you're going to find at Home Depot. I mean, you're going to really look at the warranty of the stuff that you're buying, because the product is always as good as the warranty, and that'll show you how much the company believes in what they're giving you, right? But if you have proper surge protection, and the grounding's got to be right too, because if your surge protection is always as good as your grounding is, right? Because everything's going back there. So, with that being said, to have things in place for things that's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's a grid. Power's going to go out. It's going to come back on. But how are you protecting your front door, meaning your electrical panel
Right.
and the entrance to your brake
Very
circuit?
good. So when we come back, we're going to briefly talk about surge protection. Listeners, we'll be right back to wrap up our show.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Mario, this was a fantastic program this morning. Thanks for sharing so much great electrical information with our listeners.
You're welcome. I really appreciate you guys for having me on to give me the opportunity to give that information and pass it along and to be of some value here.
Should our listeners want to call you for a home safety inspection, what do they do and where do they go and how do they reach you?
Sure. Well, they can call our office at 928-232-4028. They can find us at callallied.electric.com.
Perfect.
Is that right? Callallied.electric.com. You know what?
I think that's
We've
right.
changed our. Wait, let me
You
just.
did. It
let
is
me just
call.
check. It is Call Allied
Yes,
Electric.
yeah.
Okay. You can find us on social media. They can find us anywhere, really. I mean, if you just Google Allied Electric will pop up.
And you can see him at the home show, April 25th, 26th, and 27th.
And come say hello.
And come and say hi, and I hope we have cookies. And, until next weekend, I'm Sandy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Mario from Allied Electric.
And Bo over there. Thanks, my social media guy and our engineer. Bye-bye.
Hammer time.
Thank you for tuning in to Hammer Time. Waking Up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Heard each and every Saturday morning at 7, with an encore presentation Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 1130 by 99.9 FM in Prescott, 95.5 FM, Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, and online at kqna.com. A library of past Hammer Time shows can be listened to on the Yavapai County Contractors website at ycca.org.
Break it down.